Nelson MindTap is the digital component of your Psychology VCE course. It includes not only the text and PDF, but your teacher resources and other rich assets. Once it is provisioned for you, you have the ability to build your entire course within Nelson MindTap if you choose to. But you can also simply just use an ebook if that's what you prefer. It is about having options for you and for your class. Let's investigate further. The hamburger menu on the top left corner opens up all your different options. If it's simply to see an ebook, you can launch down here. This ebook has typical ebook functionality, including the ability to highlight, to read aloud, and to change some accessibility features. It's definitely worth a look, but for today, we're going to concentrate on the section up here, which is specifically about customizing your course to make it bespoke for your school. To customize a course, we go to the materials section. All VCE courses are quite prescriptive and definitely need to be followed closely, but at times there may be options for you to teach things in differing orders to what it appears in a textbook. In this view, you can change the order of how it appears in the digital book. So for example, if you have Unit 3 and Unit 4 and you don't want your students to see Unit 4 yet, you can simply click on this and go Hide in Student Course. This means when the student opens their digital book, they're just going to be looking at Unit 3, and that means it's a more approachable chunk for those students that sometimes struggle with seeing way too much content way too quickly. To do this, I simply go Submit, and if that's all I want to do, I click Publish. The amount of time it takes depends on how much you are hiding and how much you have customized. Let's see what this looks like for a student. If I go to the hamburger menu and go to View as Student, I will now see the student view of a MindTap. If work's been assigned, which we will look at later, a student will see it here when they open their MindTap. Go to the hamburger menu, open Materials, and you will now see that only Unit 3 is accessible and visible to the student. Clicking on that, I can see all the chapters that are available, the area of study review, and of course in each single one there are further drilling down to all the different activities that are available. That is a simple customization, but maybe you prefer to do something different. Returning to our tab, where course customization is possible, we can delve further into Unit 3, for example, and we might decide that we would like to do this in a different order, or we might just want to hide certain sections. So in this case, I'm going to look specifically at the review, hide it, and then release it to students when it is suitable. If I wanted to, I can rearrange chapters as well, simply by dragging them to a different place. I've always got content that I want to add for students myself, so I can do this too by adding a folder. Name my folder. Submit. Within my Cengage Psych folder, I'm going to add some links to tutorials that I've found and used in the past that I think work particularly well. In this case, I want to link a short-term memory and working memory tutorial that I particularly like. Choose my share link. I copy the YouTube link. Return to my course customization page. Paste it in the URL. Give my link a title. I can explain for students any instructions I like or further details. And then simple text to display. Save, and my link will be added. I want this one to be actually sitting in my Cengage Psych folder. So I simply drag it underneath Cengage Psych, and it is now part of the Cengage Psych folder that I have created. I can put as many web links in here as I like. Once I've done that, publish again. And let's check how it looks in that student book again. And here's my folder, and there is my link. Course customization means I can customize my individual course, or if I have a cohort of students that I know that will need a different selection of activities throughout the year, I can create an entirely different course that I send purely to them. Let's have a look at some of the other ways we can personalize the learning in psychology. If I go to groups, I have the ability to divide my students into groups. Once I've created my course and invited them to join it, they will be populated into Nelson MindTap. To create a group, so I'm going to call this green group, I simply select my students, and in this case, it might simply be students that are going away on the outdoor education camp and will have some work to catch up, and I want to send it to them separately. Students can be in as many groups as you want, so project groups, ability groups, excursion groups, whatever the needs are of your school. From here, once I have my groups, I can then assign work to the class either as a whole, as a group, or as an individual. To do this, I go to assignments. In this section, it opens up the material that is available for the students to read or to complete. Remembering that I've hidden Unit 4 for my students, I'll go to Chapter 2, and I want them in particular to have a look at the introduction and the key terms. Select Assign To. You can assign work well in advance. So in essence, you could have a whole semester's work assigned and ready to go out every week, for example, if that's what you would like. You can control how many attempts they might have on the activities, and then for when the results come back to you, it is good to know the category. So if is it a quiz, is it reading, then a simple assign. Once you've assigned the work, this pencil denotes that it's been assigned. How do the students know? Let's go back to their page. It will always arrange this in due date order. Let's switch to another course where I have some results populated for you. In this example, you can see when things have been viewed. You can see the result. If I click on this one, I can view, and I can look at each particular question if I like. Leave a comment from my students, see the answers they selected, and if I particularly want to look at this question over all my students, I can simply use these arrows and move to each student to see how they completed that one. If I want to see my students' performance overall, I can click on their name and see everything that they have completed or not completed in this case. Quickly looking at the reports, you can see how much time they spent in total logged in and how much on content. So it's no surprise that my students, unfortunately, have not spent much time and aren't doing very well. Let's return to the psychology. There are various other ways you can use Nelson Psychology in MindTap. That includes using study hubs where you can take notes, students can take notes, you can highlight, you can have read aloud functionality. But today we've concentrated on the special part of Nelson MindTap where you can customize a course to look exactly what you want it to look like for your students. Today we've concentrated on this section of Nelson MindTap, which is a section where you can assign work and in particular in materials where you can customize what your course looks like. You know your students better than we do, and you will know whether being able to rearrange and customize and personalize learning will be beneficial to them. I'm pretty sure that there are a majority of students out there that would benefit from just that. This makes it easy for you to use the material that's already available, but make it more accessible for the students you have in your class. If you would like to discover this further, please reach out either to myself or to your learning consultants, and we will happily take you through Nelson MindTap, how to use it, and how to arrange a trial if necessary. Think about using this for your psychology for next year. Try something different. It's excellent Nelson content in a different platform.